Hi everyone, and welcome to our next video. This is the new moon in Sagittarius, which takes place on November the 23rd, 2022 at 5:57 p.m. on the East Coast. My name is Emmeline Muldoon, and I'm with Emmeline's Astrology, and I'm here today with Jim Delacoli. Hi, Jim.
Hi, everybody.
We get together twice a month, each month, to talk about the new moon and the full moon in each sign. So it's a really good point for us to get together, look at the chart for the moon, discuss what's going on, and also just look at the astrology as a whole as to how it's affecting us during this period. Because, every 2 weeks we get this new moon or a full moon, so we can look and see how that energy is around us at the time, and give you some tips, hopefully, of how to work with the energy, because astrology is energy. There's the lower form, the higher form, so how we choose to work with it is really important. And it's good to know what the energy is, so then we're aware of it and we know how to use it for the best for us. So Jim is a real champ today because he's sick. Last time I was sick, and this time Jim has a cold, but we're pushing through. So
my turn. It's my turn.
Yeah. And I just want to say that I've noticed Mars is retrograde in Gemini, as we've been saying several times. I've been harping on about this on my social media platforms. But it's the planet of action, the planet of aggression. He's not happy. He's moving backwards. He's being agitated. It's in the sign of Gemini. This is actually respirational. This is the respirational problems, issues, coughs. And we were just talking about this before we started the video. I just think it's it's sometimes astrology is so easily illustrated. You can see it there before your eyes. And my children, both in their preschool and their school, absolutely full of the RSV virus, coughs. I mean, children do get sick every winter, but I've never seen it this bad. There's been signs up in the school about it. Every child seems like they have a cough in the class, and these coughs are, Mars, Gemini, retrograde, out of bounds, showing you perfectly how it's being interpreted. But also, I saw went to Disney World for this past week. I had a vacation there with my family, and everyone around me was coughing. When you hear someone cough and you're in a queue and you're in a confined space, so you react like this, like, don't get me. It was constant. It was like that everywhere. So I thought, this is that Mars in Gemini. And then I saw the news to say that there's a shortage of antibiotics here in the United States right now because so many people were sick. They're going to get antibiotics and there's not enough at the moment. And I just thought, wow, that's a literal interpretation of the astrology there for you. So that's one thing that I've been noticing about this Mars.
And I love that you observe, because that's what really we all are supposed to be doing, is really like picking up on all the clues and everything that's going on. So I love sitting there listening, because it equates right to astrology and how it works and how it is, something that can help you understand. So I love that.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how long you do astrology as well. I think you still get like a moment like that with the Mars in Gemini, and you look around you and everyone has a cough and you think, okay, this is the literal interpretation of it. The other thing, Gemini is like the hands and the arms, and obviously Mars in Gemini, angry words and aggression. That's what we've been experiencing since Halloween. We've got it till January. So I'm telling you stories to try and help you feel become more aware of it, firstly, because that's what I'm trying to do, and also just realize that people are a little bit agitated at the moment. But again, I just spent the last week in Disney World, and what happened? Probably one of the worst weeks to go to somewhere like Disney World. I was physically shoved by people's elbows, their hands, several times. And, I'm a mom with a stroller walking down, literally getting elbowed out the way by people trying to get past me. And it's one thing sort of like squidging past someone, but to actually physically do that with your arms or your elbows, it shook me. It shocked me a lot that I was getting elbowed like that. And I just, again, I stood back from it and I observed and I remembered Mars is in Gemini, it's retrograde. This is the words, the people getting angry, but it's also the hands, it's tied to the movement of that. And I also did witness a lot of arguments in Disney. A lot, literally, my husband Michael, and I saw someone break up in front of us, which I thought was quite funny because it's like, well, not that it was funny that they were breaking up, but literal interpretation of what we said on the last video of when that full eclipse happened with the Uranus, it's going to feel like I can't take it anymore. And as we were watching these people in front of us shouting, the lady literally turned to the man and said, I can't take this anymore. I can't take you anymore. I'm going. And she walked away. It was quite shocking to watch, but it wasn't the only fight that we witnessed. We saw quite a lot of people shouting at each other there and a lot of children having meltdowns. So what I'm trying to say is this is the flavor of this Mars right now, right through till January. So step back, observe, watch it like I was, try to detach, try not to get involved. You might see it with the driving as well, because Gemini, we can look at cars, to just try to stay calm when people around you are feeling this intense aggression, agitation, energy, just a little tip, a little thought for the period there.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, because it is it's even us as astrologers. I think sometimes you get about your day, you're going around Disney World, you're doing what you're doing, and then you see this and then you kind of forget for a second, and then you go, oh yeah, that's the Mars, that's
right,
what we're dealing with right now. So it's it's important to remember the backdrop to what's going on at the moment, with this Mars, and ways to handle this Mars positively. I'm talking about all the lower form of this Mars in Gemini, but try and get physical, use your mind with the physical, and then you'll feel a bit better, I think, with handling this active mental element that we're all having at the moment.
Yes. Yeah, that's perfect. And again, we're all human. Sometimes you forget, you get too deep in astrology and you forget some things are just right there and they're very apparent, but we miss them. So that's good that you step back and were aware enough to find and figure that out. So that's awesome.
Yeah, you definitely do. Even like we were saying, even as an astrologer, you just go about your day and then you forget, and then you have to refer back and say, oh yeah,
yep,
take my own advice here.
Right.
Be aware of all this craziness around me. So
yeah.
it possibly was one of the worst times I could have chose to go to Disney World, I suppose. But I never even looked at the astrology when I booked the vacation, so that was something to live and learn by. Okay, right. So let's get the chart up for the new moon. I have the chart here in front of us now. I've shared the screen. This is the new moon in Sagittarius, and it's on the 23rd. So it's one day before Thanksgiving next week, isn't it? The day before, the night before Thanksgiving Eve. Yeah. So we're gonna be thinking about how we're handling this new moon energy in the context of a holiday here in the United States. And also that Mars in Gemini energy that I've just been talking about. Heated debates at the dinner table, Thanksgiving, let them stay as debates. Use it for talking and getting your ideas out instead of arguing,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, go gray here. Just stay in the middle and try not to voice your opinion. I think that'll be the best way to handle this, because there's a lot of good stuff going on that during this time, but we're all at a better place. I look at the sign of Sagittarius as like where we develop our philosophy based on the stuff we've worked on and then the stuff the outside world has showed us. So we got a lot revealed to us last month with the Scorpio new moon. And so this moon, it'll be about you come into a better understanding through what you've picked up on the internal side and the external. So take this and use it because we got a lot of aspects that are going to be friendly to help you here. But Sagittarius is a fire sign, so you might stir some passion. So try to go gray if you can, and keep it to a minimal point of getting out of control from the pissy side, so to speak.
Yeah, and I really like this new moon chart because even though I've just been talking to you for the last 5 minutes about Mars retrograde in Gemini, which is intense. This new moon chart for next week, we're filming this on the 17th of November. So for the new moon on the 23rd of November, this feels a lot lighter than all the other moons that we've been looking at for the last few months. So in that sense, this is a bit more cheerful, a bit more friendly, a bit more opportunistic, I think, with the Sagittarius. So even though we've been talking about all the Mars, which I think is a great backdrop to the story of the astrology right now, for this new moon, this is a great time. And obviously, as we say, every time there's a new moon, look to what you want to grow and what you want to manifest and create in your chart at 1 degree of Sagittarius, because this new moon falls at 1 degree right there. The sun and moon are together. So where's 1 degree of Sagittarius in your chart? That's going to give you an indication and look at the house, what that house represents of what you can grow and what you want, where you want to plant your seeds.
Yes. And then last month, a lot of the hidden was revealed. Sometimes the hidden is beneficial, sometimes it's not, but it gets you to a point where you have more or better understanding. So this is now where you want to go to that next phase. And I think there's a huge potential here because it's in Sagittarius for you to see things for as they are versus maybe how you wanted to see them. Now you've got to develop a philosophy from that perspective. So you're wiser, tremendously wiser if you've observed and grab your popcorn like we talked about and watch. Yeah. So I think you'll like where this can take you because there's a lot of good aspects here. So
yeah, definitely. It is really it seems a lot more friendly. And the other thing is, because it is at 1 degree, it's right at the beginning of Sagittarius. So this is even more of the sense of a new moon, a new opportunity, a new beginning, because it's right there at the beginning of the sign of Sagittarius. And in fact, I think we just looked at the ephemeris, the next 3 moons after this, I think 3 or 4, are also at 1 degree of the sign. So this is new, the rebirth, the new growth that's coming over the next few months. So these eclipses have really opened up and shown us what needs to change and what is changing. And this is the time for the new growth and the new that's coming in. And Sagittarius it's one of my favorite signs, actually. I really love Sagittarius because it's like the adventurer. It's looking for truth. It's looking for justice. It's linked to lawyers. It's linked to the law. So we might see some new beginnings in legal matters or legal cases or legal developments, maybe, because this is, also linked to Libra is the other sign as well, but Sagittarius and Libra are both very much connected to justice and the law. So we might see themes presenting around us in that area, but also for us generally, like, what's your truth? What's important to you? What's your higher meaning? What do you want to explore? Where do you want your next adventure to be?
Perfect. Yep.
It's a great way of looking at this Sagittarius new moon energy as a whole, to where you want to plant your seeds.
Yes.
So should we look at some of the aspects of
let's do.
What do you want to start with? The conjunctions?
Yeah, let's start with the conjunctions.
Because I'm circling around here, you can see there's a bit of a pile up in Sagittarius. We have the sun and the moon, obviously, that means a new moon. But then right there next to it is Venus in Sagittarius, which is nice. I like the feel of Venus in Sagittarius. And then also Mercury Mercury is you know, talking about things a lot, talking about its truth, I suppose, is what you could describe it as. But I like the Venus being close to this new moon. I think that also gives it the nicer, softer edge.
Yeah, I think Venus wants to bring us ease and I call it grace, and
Mhm.
Mercury is wants to communicate our philosophy and others' philosophy. So I think we can easily come to way better understandings here with these four planets all early in the sign of Sagittarius. Careful that you don't um, like a fire sign. You just want to be careful that you don't anything that goes on during this time. It doesn't have to be like fully defined.
Mhm.
Keep massaging it, and keep massaging it, and you'll keep finding more and better, because I think Venus wants to bring us to a place where we can just get to a better understanding more and more, and that's what the sign Sagittarius does. So let that happen. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so let this just expand. Think of this as the beginning of your new like phase and understanding things, and just
Mhm.
let it expand as it needs to. So
Yeah, and Venus in Sagittarius is a lot a lighter, happier feel than
yes.
the Venus in Scorpio that we've been going through. So that's a nice change, and we're definitely going to feel that change. I think Venus moved yesterday into Sagittarius, so it's lighter, it's softer, it's idealistic. It's a feeling of we can grow, we can build, we can dream. So it adds that flavor to this new moon.
And I always say, like say, make things better, rise them up
Mhm.
from where they are, and take them to a better place. So that's the opportunity, big time here. So
Yeah, yeah, it's nice. And with Mercury there, we might feel like we want to talk about our dreams as well, communicate them with others.
yes,
Mm.
and then we have the Neptune, Jupiter at the top. They're
Yeah.
still together. So
Hmm.
in the late in the sign of Pisces, and again, it's the last fire sign. Sagittarius is last water sign Pisces. So I think we got opportunity to really piece things together from a perspective of we're using all our faculties. Now Neptune can hide things and Pisces can hide things. So there can be a lot of deception. I'm not going to kid you here, but know that huge opportunity for you to take this and rise up and come to a way better understanding, whether it be through dreams, through meditation, or through communication with others. But I'm gonna throw in what you a good point you put in last time is careful of drinking here, because you can really deceive yourself if you get yourself altered in any state other than a natural or pure state. So you want to watch that.
Yeah, any form of escaping through recreational methods, I suppose. So however you escape, some people choose, drugs or alcohol. This is a time where you could fall into that. But if you want to escape in another way where you shut yourself away and meditate, then that would be a great use for this Neptune, Jupiter coming together there. And Jupiter is stationary in this chart, so you can see there's an S there underneath it, which means it's stationing that day. So it's about to move direct again. So when a planet stations, it's emphasizing that feeling of the planet. So Jupiter is expanded and making this new moon bigger because it's literally coming to a standstill in this chart. So I always think of like when a planet's stationing, it's sort of like it's just feeling like it's vibrating and it's really apparent and it's higher. The symbolism of that planet is higher in the chart than it would normally be. So
Yep.
for looking at this, it's like it's opportunistic again. It's bringing some good fortune or good luck. It makes things bigger, and it is making an aspect to the new moon
Yep.
shining. So it is just flowing. It's bringing it out, making it bigger. And I feel like we've had lots of Jupiter aspects with the last couple of moons. But this one in particular is just really expanding our hopes, expanding our horizons.
And
Jupiter likes to do that anyway, doesn't it?
absolutely. And I'm looking at that as like I wrote truth in all capital letters. I think that, the truth can be found here, but you've got to be pure of mind and use all of your faculties, whether it be logic or your intuition or your ability to dream or whatever. But that the truth is going to be exposed, I think,
Mhm.
in a way that potentially you can really pick this up because these planets are trying to work together. Let them, don't fight it, just let it happen. So, and I think you'd be surprised at what you come to.
Mhm. Yeah. So, should we move on to the Neptune square Mars?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, as you can see, Neptune is at 22. Mars is right there at 21. So they're in a tight square in this chart. And that can be a little bit maybe more of a difficult energy to work with this new moon because in the lower form of this we can look at maybe deception, um or or suspicion, or feeling maybe discouraged, or not seeing things clearly throughout what we're doing. But on the other hand, we can be really good at using our imagination with these two coming together. So I like it for pulling into your imagination and trying to think up and imagine what you want with your growth and this new moon seeds that you want to plant. So it's great for manifesting an imagination, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Creative projects.
Yeah. And then, Neptune square Mars, I always look at that as because Mars is in Gemini, you want to look at that and go, you might have missed something, right? And the square might reveal it. Don't get upset about that. Just like observe this. I think that would be the best way to handle it initially, because you might have been deceived all along, and now you see. Because it's the other reason I wrote the truth here. So, um, just be aware of that because Jupiter is also squaring Mars here. So you may have an opportunity. You might have missed something big. I'm hoping the ego gets dissolved here, and that you can just see things for as they are. Now you might need to stand for what you've seen or believe too. So, and others might not see it, but you got to be careful between swinging here because you don't want to get cause arguments if you can help it. So.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Okay.
And then we got squares of Saturn. Just real quick, I don't want to Uranus, Saturn, Saturn, Sun, and Moon. So Saturn makes us work. It's a little off. It's not close by degree, but the Uranus Saturn square. We've been talking about that for a long time. So
Yeah, we have. That's been the theme for really, that was really big in October, wasn't it? And now it's fading out and it's closing. So that's good. What had to go, what had to crumble away is going. So
yep,
we're at the last phase of that. So we've spoken about that on other videos with Uranus always winning with Saturn, but yeah, now we're really seeing what new is coming and where it's taking us.
yep. And think of the analogy there with squeezing water, right? Don't how much can you get if you squeeze it versus cup it and cup your hands together. So think of that. Don't hold on to anything too tight there with that square because you're trying to be set free. So let it happen. So
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's a good one. Yeah, and also you see Uranus is still hanging out there with the North Node.
yes,
So really we can still expect sudden changes
yes,
and exciting changes, but knowing that these unforeseen events that might pop up during this new moon are leading us to our collective path and our destiny, North
yes.
Node in Taurus.
Yes, building a better future because that's what we do in Taurus. We want to build a base for our future, where we're going. So there's a huge opportunity here.
That's important. I think also with that, we've got if you look at the Pluto here with Jupiter, them two sextile each other. They are just flowing into one another. And when you think about, I think, did we say this on the last one as well, with Pluto coming together with Jupiter? I always think of like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, you know, because having them two come together is huge expansion, huge transformation, huge opportunity to propel or grow or expand on things. So with Jupiter being stationary and making that sextile to Pluto, it's almost like it can easily blow up. Whatever we're trying to expand it can catch on fire, I guess. Is what, bless you, what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Two coming together. So that's quite an exciting one.
And it might be a good time to invest, is all I'm going to say. I'm not going to encourage where to invest, but
yes, I was just thinking that, or invest in yourself. Like if you're starting a project, launching or something like that, if you're looking at starting a project or getting something off the ground, then this is you know, it's good when you've got like a sextile with Jupiter and Pluto.
yes.
Jupiter being in Pisces, like you were saying, looking at what we're creating, our imaginary, and then Pluto. Bless you. Okay, Jim.
Sorry about that. I'm trying not to cough here.
No problem. I know it's you're not easy when you're sick and you're trying to do it. So really appreciate you joining today to get this video done. So yeah, like Pluto in Capricorn is all about, you know, what needs to change with that growth and where we're going, and Jupiter in Pisces is what we're imagining. So that's a great time to have those two working together for what we want to expand and build. So if you've got like a creative project that's going on, it's kind of a good time to be thinking of launching it, you know.
Yes, very, very good time.
Okay, so I think we did most of this full moon.
Yep.
New moon.
Yep.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, so just to summarize, I guess this feels like refreshing, it feels happier, it feels opportunistic, it feels like we can tap into our imagination, manifestation, look at what we want to grow, and be positive in the changes that are coming after what we've seen with the eclipse season ending, because this new moon does actually officially mark the end of eclipse season. So we're just in the last couple of days, like the last week of it now, here on the 17th of November. But by the time we get to this new moon on the 23rd of November, then we are we're out of eclipse season. So
yes,
that's nice.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and then, you know, that full moon coming will be a doozy. So enjoy this time, but really, you know, get yourself together here and realize and look at how much you've changed. And maybe not all the change will be beneficial, but I would really take a step back and appreciate what you've become here, because that's what I'm doing. So and know that you're a work in progress. You're human. You're here for a reason. So enjoy this time and just look at how you have been altered here by the energies, and then take yourself and just keep expanding from there, because that's what this moon's going to be. So
yeah, it is. And like a good point, because we're moving up to the full moon in Gemini next. So that will be a whole different energy to this one.
Yep.
So yeah, so thank you everyone. Thanks for sticking with us for our latest video. We'll be back again in the next couple of weeks for the full moon in Gemini. Yes. And we'll see you again then. If you have any questions, write them in the comments. We're happy to answer them.
Yeah, don't hesitate, please. And we appreciate you viewing. So have fun. Happy Thanksgiving. So thanks again, Emily.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving. Bye, everyone.
See you.